Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weischadle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weischadle. Doug, I think we've had some time to digest the NBA draft. I know some people are still surprised at the #1 overall pick. I know a lot of people are still scratching their heads over what the Knicks did, but I'm more fascinated by the Oklahoma City Thunder. They drafted, back-to-back, two players named Jalen Williams.
Seems to be the trend. I know the Jets did it with the Michael Carters for the NFL.
You reminded me of that. But no, it's interesting. Round one, the 12th overall pick was Jalen Williams from Santa Clara. He spells his name Jalen. And in round two, with the 34 overall pick, Jalen Williams from Arkansas. He spells his name Jaylin. I thought it was very interesting. Two Jalen Williams.
At least they're going to be able to tell them apart. I mean, with the Jets guys, they're in the same name, exactly the same name. So
now, do they have names on their back? I know when there's like two Williams, they'll have the J Williams, but there's J.A. I wonder if they can put their full names on the back so you can tell them apart.
Well, the way the Jets did it,
okay,
they actually have the one guy as the second. So they have his last name with the Roman numerals after.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know exactly how Oklahoma City's uniforms are. I know some of them have the names on them, have the names on the back, but others don't have them because depending on the jersey, and also home and away may be different as well. So I don't know.
I just found
as long as the first names are different. You know?
I don't know why I focused in on that. I thought that was strange. I thought that was Jalen Williams. Did they just pick Jalen Williams, or okay?
You know, it's
there are
interesting.
Two Jalen Williams back-to-back drafts.
You focused on that weirdness and not the weirdness of the Knicks, which
I don't
constantly do weird things at the draft.
You need a flow chart to figure out what the Knicks are doing.
I don't think the Knicks know what the Knicks are doing right now.
Well, they're clearing cap space for hopefully a big signing, but a little strange.
At some point, the Knicks have to start building through the draft. They can't just keep throwing away their draft picks. And it's kind of fun to watch exactly all the different ways people are building their teams. Again, I don't know what the Knicks are doing.
Well, it was a very interesting draft and a very interesting night. And we have a very interesting show coming up. We have a Beatin The House segment where we talk about the jackpots around the country, and I'm talking with Chris Atlruda about some of the biggest gaming news stories in the country. Chris, as you may know, is from usbets.com, Sports Handle, and Better Collective, and really talented reporter, and he's got some great updates on some of the biggest gaming news.
Exit 1.
In today's first exit, we're going to be talking about more sports betting comments. I mean, the last couple of weeks we had DraftKings CEO making comments, and we had Charles Barkley making comments on sports betting. And right now, this week, we're going to be talking about some comments made by an SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey.
Oh, okay.
He was speaking at an Associated Press Sports Editor Summer Conference. And this is a couple of weeks back, but again, the comments were kind of interesting.
Okay.
In terms of what he was focused on and what he actually came out and admitted during his discussion with the conference.
Now my interest is piqued because I don't know what he said, so I'm waiting for what he said.
Well, first of all, as everyone knows, the SEC conference, 14 teams across 11 states, and only 4 of those states have sports betting, by the way.
Okay.
So the majority of the schools in the SEC are not in states where there's sports betting.
Okay.
Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee are the ones that have the sports betting in the SEC conference. His comments were looking back and looking ahead regarding how sports betting has expanded and impacted his conference.
Okay.
He said 5 years ago, and I'm going to paraphrase what he said, 5 years ago, it was just football and men's basketball and women's basketball in the postseason that you talked about betting.
Okay.
Now it's everything year-round. It's football, basketball, baseball.
Sure.
He even referenced they were waiting for a gymnastics report from U.S. Integrity.
Interesting. I never thought about
it's the way this thing has been growing. And
I can see it. I can see it.
But it got more interesting when he came out and said that they were not prepared for the quick expansion of sports betting, or they were not as prepared as they should have been for how quickly sports betting has expanded and impacted the sports in their conference. And he addressed not just the sports betting, but also the impact on the mental condition of the students, the athletes, and also the coaches.
The mental condition. Okay.
Exactly. He was referring to now that there's this in-play betting, it's going to cause a pause for players before they start doing. There's going to be added pressure for every play.
That's an interesting take.
He was very, very concerned about the mental health of their coaches and their players because of the impact of sports betting.
I'm surprised that's even entering the equation. I mean, they're there to play the game, focus on the game. They shouldn't even be thinking about sports betting.
He was concerned that they would be worried about the sports betting aspect of the game, because if you got a field goal kicker coming in to kick a field goal, you know, he may end up worrying more about who placed a bet on him and if he's going to get some death threats. You know. That
interesting.
There's an impact far beyond the game in his eyes.
That's something I've never thought of. I don't know if he has some information on that he's talked to students and talked to players, and it's very interesting how he came to that conclusion.
I'm
not saying it's wrong or right. I'm interested in why he feels that way.
He's concerned about the mental makeup of his athletes, and this is a sentiment he's argued in the past before. He said it in a couple different conferences where the way sports betting has impacted and become almost an everyday part of life for everybody, how it has impacted the mental health of the players in terms of not just their performance on the field, but leading up to games.
Well, look, you can say the same thing about name, image, and likeness deals. I mean, if a kicker is running out there to do a last-second field goal, you could be thinking, boy, I might blow a sneaker deal if I miss this.
See, that's why I thought these comments were kind of interesting.
So if you take it that way, you take it that way. But, it's interesting to – I'm very curious to see how he came to that conclusion, or he came to that sentiment.
It's a sentiment that he's been echoing. And, again, I see a difference with the name, image, likeness situation, because that's the player's own fault. You know, he has to worry about his own fault. But the problem is, if he misses a field goal or the quarterback misses a pass or doesn't hit his statistical output that a sportsbook puts on there, you know, the sports bettor may take it out on them. And I think that creates an extra outside pressure for these games, because I remember the baseball players had death threats against them and their family from a gambler. You know, you don't know if that's going to happen in college.
You get death threats from person who's deranged and unhinged anyway. So I don't know if it's.
I understand what he's worried about.
I understand, but I'm very curious to see how we got to that.
And it also goes to even problem gambling too.
Sure,
if you think about it. But again, it's something that I guess maybe NCAA conferences have to be aware of at some point.
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
But again, it was kind of striking to hear him say that their conference was not prepared whatsoever for how quickly sports betting has expanded, and they're actually playing catch up still.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But like I said, I just wanted to bring those comments up to you and get your opinion on all those things.
It's a brave new world.
Exit 2.
Well, we've had a busy 2 weeks in esports.
Okay.
And I'm going to run down through a whole bunch of different things here, because are
these all deals that things
these are all
made,
types
or?
of deals.
Okay.
These are all different avenues of revenue and sponsorship deals, all that stuff. And Riot Games is the first one I'm going to really quickly talk about. They had announced at the start of June, since the start of June, they have 5 new partnerships.
Wow. Okay.
Major partnerships. I'm going to talk about 2 of them, really. Santander, the bank.
Okay.
They are now a multi-year sponsor of the League of Legends European Championship.
Really? Okay.
So that's a huge deal. That's a big international bank.
I think, is it Spanish bank? Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
its origins are in Spain. Okay.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Yes.
European Championship.
Down in Brazil, they did a deal with Heineken.
Okay.
Heineken is now the new sponsor of the Brazilian League of Legends Championship.
All right.
So that's kind of an interesting one, too, especially when you're dealing with kids. I guess the drinking age is a lot lower in Brazil.
I don't know anything about the drinking age in
If there is
Brazil.
a drinking age.
I mean, yeah. So I remember going to Canada when I was a kid. It was like, what's the drinking age? And they looked at me, what do you mean? So I was 18, I had a beer. There you go.
And then they gave you 3.
It
at
was
happy
all
hour.
nice and legal.
Yeah, and then you gave you 3 at happy hour.
That's a powerful beer,
Yes,
too.
a different type of beer
That
up there.
Labatt's will put you on your ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did a whole bunch of other deals. They also did a deal with Zowie for display purposes. Zowie is a gaming equipment manufacturer. So
Okay.
they did a major deal with Zowie. Wisdom Gaming, they did a deal for the North American Team Fight Tactics Series. Don't ask me what that is. I haven't had a chance to take a look at that one, but it sounds pretty cool to me.
Team Fight Tactics
Yes.
Series. Okay.
Well, these are the other more interesting deals that I came across. Team Liquid. This is not Riot Games anymore.
All right.
We're moving on to some other deals. Team Liquid did a naming rights deal with Honda.
The cars.
The cars.
All right.
The automaker will now be the team name. It'll be Team Liquid Honda
All right.
throughout the League of Legends Championship Series. And also, the team will be provided, both players and coaches, with Honda vehicles.
Really? That's
Yes.
nice. Boy, that's a
sponsorship
Is there
right
any
there.
question how much money is involved with esports that they're getting cars?
Well, continuing with the car theme.
There's a car shortage,
Yes.
and they're getting cars. That's
Yes.
how much money is in esports.
They didn't say
nowadays.
if they were used cars.
Yeah.
So
well.
we don't know. But again, I'm assuming this is.
These should be
are
top of the
beautiful,
line kind of
beautiful
things.
cars. Fnatic has a BMW sponsored performance facility.
Oh my God!
No word on whether they're getting cars.
All right.
Dolce and Gabbana, the clothing manufacturer,
Yeah. Okay.
will be the big sponsor for the Italian esports team Makers. MKERS.
Now, will they make like actual shirts?
They're going to
and
be
clothing?
the shirts and
Boy,
everything.
they're going to
Yes.
look nice.
Yes.
Huh?
As a matter of fact, I
There's
saw pictures of them. They do look
BMW,
nice. They're
fashion and
they're
oh my God.
beautiful clothing. So
I guess.
and also it kind of goes with their the way they have their jerseys, because the word "good game" is across the front of it,
Oh, good game.
and the GD
DG,
is
okay,
capitalized
yeah, okay.
for gold,
right.
Dolce
All
and Gabbana.
I get it.
We also have Garnier Fructis, the shampoo.
Shampoo. Okay.
They will be the sponsor for Team Vitality, and
All right.
they will be the official hair care product. And you're going to see the branding all through their digital assets for those guys.
Wow.
The
Okay.
amount of activations I'm seeing over these last couple of weeks, just in June alone, is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, and these aren't just small companies getting involved with esports. Wait, you have Honda, BMW. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yes, and again, these aren't equipment deals. These are, I'm giving you a car.
Yeah. So-
I've never seen that one before for an esports organization. So everything is growing in the industry, and everyone's taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
Drizzly makes it easy to shop a huge selection of beer, wine, and liquor from wherever I am. I just open the app, find what I want, and it's at my door in under 60 minutes.
Drizzly.
Ding dong, Drizzly.
Exit 3.
Couple new NFT. I don't want to call these drops, but a couple of new NFT occurrences. I guess you can call them. FINA, the swimming organization, it's an international swimming organization. They're holding their 19th annual World Championship swim meet in Budapest,
Okay.
and it's an international swim meet, so there are international records at stake.
All right.
So whenever an athlete for this year's swim meet sets a world record,
All right.
they're going to get a personalized illustration as an NFT as a prize,
Okay.
plus a $50,000 bonus.
Wow. Okay.
Every individual that sets a world record at this meet is going to get a illustration of themselves doing the record.
Now, will this illustration of the record-setting athlete, is that available to the public, or is
Nope.
that just
It's
something they're just going to give the athlete?
The athlete can do whatever they want with it afterwards.
If they were smart, they'd sell it.
Exactly. There's a secondary market coming pretty soon.
Check
for,
on eBay or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not downgrading like their
No.
accomplishment or anything like that, but if you want to monetize it,
Yes.
yeah, that's the best way to monetize it.
Well, they're getting $50,000 in addition to the NFT for setting the world record. And again, I don't know how many are going to be setting world records, but it's an international event. They're expecting a couple hundred swimmers.
Okay.
So I just thought it was kind of unique to see now an NFT being used as an award.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a different way of doing an NFT drop, too.
I wonder when the Olympics will start with that. Instead of gold, silver, and bronze, get an NFT.
Well, gold NFT, a bronze
gold,
NFT,
get an NFT.
and it's a picture of
Someone's
going to
rip that idea off
of
from
course.
us.
If they're not already planning this anyway.
Yeah.
Another thing that caught my attention in the NFT world over the last couple of weeks here, Canadian company, Astro Babies. Yes.
Never heard of them. What are they?
They're an NFT company.
All right. They're an actual NFT company.
They're an NFT company. They have launched what's being called the first NFT casino in El Salvador. It's a brick-and-mortar venue.
Okay.
This is a physical place
All right.
to go and trade, sell, sit down, relax, and do whatever you want in the NFT world.
Wow.
Inside this brick-and-mortar location that's going to have a modern interior, a bar, a restaurant, and it's going to be in its own building with the Astro Babies glowing logo at the front of the building.
So when they call it a casino,
it's technically not a casino. It's the old definition of casino where it's the gathering place.
Gathering place, like on a boardwalk. They call them a casino.
Yes,
before casinos when you with slot machines and things like that.
Exactly. But again, they're calling it a casino.
Okay.
And the reason they chose El Salvador, even though they're a Canadian company, El Salvador became the first country last year to recognize Bitcoin as a legal tender.
Okay.
So this is all Bitcoin based.
So this should be an interesting place if you're into Bitcoin, if you're into NFTs. It should be like ground zero for the NFT world in North America, huh? Well, or no, South America. So.
They're also planning the second one already. And this one is going to be near about 30 miles south of Bitcoin City. It's going to be a city that runs on Bitcoin.
Really?
That's what they're planning in
Bitcoin
in this
City.
Country. Yes.
Okay.
It's
what country is this now? Is it
this is El Salvador? Yep.
All right.
So it's going to be
when did El Salvador become the world leader in Bitcoin?
They're the first one that made it a legal tender.
All right.
So and what's funny about Bitcoin City, it's going to be run on geothermal power because it's going to be built right next to a volcano.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good planning or bad planning.
I
don't know
sure
what they're looking
that.
at with that. But it's something to So they're going to see two Astro casinos.
Oh, good luck with that.
So I just wanted those were very interesting stories I came across for the NFTs. They're different than the usual NFT drop we usually talk about.
Okay.
Exit 4.
We're going to end up today talking about the Big Data Bowl.
Okay.
Everyone knows sports betting runs on statistics and data.
Sure.
Every year for the last 4 years, Amazon Web Services to be exact, and the NFL have run what's called the Big Data Bowl.
By the way, I've never heard of it until you just said that.
I never heard of it until I came across the announcement here that this year they held the Big Data Bowl, and it was the first time a group of graduate students won the contest. What the Big Data Bowl is,
I don't know.
the Big
What is
Data
this?
Bowl allows Amazon Web Services to create new statistical points that they can give to pro leagues, especially the NFL.
Okay. Do you have any kind of example of this?
This year's Big Data Bowl focused on special teams and identifying strategies for punts, field goals, and extra point plays.
So they come out with stats that apply to, say, a punter.
They come out with computer models to generate what's the best plays.
Okay. So,
happen.
if a punter,
and why they work.
If you punt it to the left,
yes,
this percentage of things happen.
Exactly.
Is that what you're talking? Is this the whole big?
They do this every year. This year was special teams only, and the graduate students of Simon Fraser University in Canada. They're the
Okay.
first collegiate team to win the contest, and it was also one of the team members was the first female to be part of the winning team.
Congratulations! I've never heard of this, but it's interesting.
There are eight teams.
Okay.
Each team gets share a prize pool of $90,000.
That's pretty
winning
good.
team gets an additional $10,000.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And what this winning team from Fraser University came up with, Simon Fraser University, to correct myself there, they used a combination of video review, data visualizations, and metric analysis to assess the effectiveness of a punt return.
Interesting. Okay.
Their model that they came up with, their computer model, identified the optimal route to the end zone that the punt returner should take.
Interesting.
Given the fact of how the defense is set up, or the kicking team is set up, I should say.
So they're taking analytics to a whole new level.
Well, everything in sports betting is analytics. So,
wow.
and Amazon
Okay.
and Amazon Web Services.
I'm shocked that a sportsbook operator hasn't gotten in on the sponsorship of this. It's a pretty good idea.
Well, this is actually kind of interesting. The computer model determined the optimal path for the returner to get to the end zone, and then also it provides the expected yards metric on the play
Okay.
from receiving the punt, depending upon what the computer comes up with in terms of the optimal route the punt returner should take.
So practically speaking, how does one use this? I mean, does a coach say, if you catch it here, you have to run this way, or does a bettor in a live situation know that?
Well, in terms,
how would someone utilize this information?
in terms of a team,
okay,
getting this data, the coach can tell the punt returner, if you see this starting to happen with the kicking team coming down to cover you, go this way.
Okay.
I mean, it's almost a training thing. In terms of sports betting,
I guess it's a teaching tool.
yes.
So.
In terms of the sports betting area, that goes to the graphical displays you see in the games now.
Sure.
So at some point, you're going to see this being used for sports betting purposes.
Yeah, I guess so.
How you can do it right now, I don't know.
If someone can figure out a practical way to
Yes.
utilize this information, yeah, sure.
But congratulations to the team from Simon Fraser. They are the winners of this year's Big Data Bowl.
Congratulations. And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Well, we got a great show coming up. We got a Beatin The House, and after this, I'm talking with Chris Atlruda. We're going to get the latest on the sports betting news around the country, especially Illinois. There's some great things in gambling is happening in Illinois. Chris Atlruda is from US Bets, Sports Handle, and Better Collective, and he's going to give us a lowdown on everything happening in the gambling world. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. Dave Weischadle with you here. Lots happening in the gambling world. The gambling market in Illinois is heating up. Some huge national numbers were just released, and a pretty important guy in the sports betting business said some interesting things about the industry. And when we want to get the latest, we talk to the reporters from Better Collective. And on the line, we have a great reporter that we've had several times on the show from usbets.com, and sports handle Chris Atlruda is with us. Chris, thanks for coming back on.
Hey, Dave. Always appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I was telling you off air, I always like having you on the show because, in my opinion, you live in the most interesting gaming market in the country, and that's Chicago, Illinois. I guess the big news stories coming out of Illinois is Bally's and their downtown casino project. We'll certainly get to the other projects in Illinois, especially the Wind Creek project, but I want to ask you about Bally's first because that's the story people outside of Illinois are hearing the most about. Now, what's the latest? Now, they have the downtown casino license. Where are they right now in terms of development? Is there a temporary casino ready to go up? What are the plans for Bally's moving forward?
Okay, so they don't have the license yet. What the city council did was approve them as the applicant they will present to the Illinois Gaming Board for the downtown casino license.
Okay.
So there are still a few hurdles left to overcome.
All right.
We're not exactly sure what kind of timetable the Gaming Board's going to have, although it would not be surprising if the city politely asked them to expedite the process.
Okay.
Because the goal is to have the temporary casino at Medina Temple up and running by the second quarter of next year, which would give the Gaming Board approximately 9 months.
All right.
When that the application will likely come in. It's not going to come in this week because they do meet on Thursday, but the expectation is it would probably come in the next week because by then the host community agreement between Bally's and the cities will be signed and taken care of. And the big thing with that was Bally's is providing a $40 million one-time payment to the city as part of the sweetener that is supposed to go into the fiscal budget of next year.
In terms of the bidding process for the downtown casino license, is it a little surprising that Rush Street didn't really get the nod initially from everyone? I mean, it seems like they have a huge presence in the state of Illinois. Is it a little surprising that Bally's is really the front runner here?
Well, Bally's is the applicant. Unless something disastrous happens, Bally's is going to open a casino in downtown Chicago. Rush Street was surprising in the sense that my personal opinion was I thought it was the boldest of the five. Both Bally's and Rush Street each had two proposals. The ones that the city nixed were both near McCormick Place, which is another subject we can breach into at some point. But I thought that the Rush Street project that was one of the three finalists was the boldest one in the sense you had a chance to create an entirely new neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And to do something like that in the third largest city in the country is something that, Mayor Lightfoot talked about, the casino being a once-in-a-generation project. Creating a new neighborhood sounds even more so. And I thought that would sway enough people to be on board with that one. That said, I understand the city's concerns about the downtown city casino having some of its revenue cannibalized by Rivers in Des Plaines, which is just outside of O'Hare Airport, which is less than 30 miles away from where this project was, where Rush Street proposed its location for downtown.
Okay.
And I think having Bally's have a clean radius in terms of their nearest market. I mean, they do operate a casino in Illinois, but it's in Quad Cities by the Iowa border.
Okay.
They do operate in Indiana, but it's in Evansville, which is nowhere near Chicago. So there's nothing there for them where they're drawing against themselves. And I think that mattered to the city in this instance.
Well, you mentioned location. Where is Bally's planning to have their casino? Where is the property located within the city?
Okay, so the permanent casino is in the neighborhood that's called River West. For me, it's a 4-train stop travel on the Blue Line. And it is going to be built at the Tribune publishing plant where the Chicago Tribune used to be published. Originally, they were going to put the temporary venue there and the permanent venue there. But the Chicago Department of Transportation put out their construction schedule for next year, and the Chicago Avenue Bridge is one of the projects they're going to work on, which made access to the Tribune publishing plant far more difficult than it would be originally. Not that it would be easy, because city traffic is city traffic. So they moved the temporary venue to Medina Temple in River North, which is approximately a mile and a half away, but also in a different ward, which created its own different set of aldermanic political issues. But that building was also vacant. The issue mainly came in terms of the timing of the logistics, because no one knew Medina Temple was on the short list to be a temporary venue until the mayor's office announced Bally's was the finalist, which set off a small firestorm among city politicians.
Now, if all things go well for Bally's, do they have a date in mind when the permanent location, when they're going to swing open the doors and say, come on in, we're open for business?
So the law says that once you open the temporary casino, the 3-year clock on opening the permanent casino starts.
Okay.
Now, obviously, there's going to be once Bally's is deemed preliminary suitable by the gaming board, that is when they're allowed to begin the construction work and all, like physical construction work. If they can get construction permits on the side as the application process is being vetted. But once they're deemed preliminary suitable is when you get shovels in the ground and hard hats on. So you have 3 years from the date the temporary casino opens, which again would be second quarter 23.
Okay.
So which brings you to no later than second quarter 26, though I would imagine you would want to open in the fall of 25 just to avoid construction in the wintertime. Whether you can pull that off is another matter to be determined, especially because a lot of infrastructure work has to go into this. And it means multiple city departments pulling together, which could be like herding cats.
Yeah, right. Now, people outside of Illinois have been so preoccupied with the Bally's news that if it wasn't for your reporting, we probably wouldn't have known about another groundbreaking in Illinois, and that's for the Wind Creek property. First off, where is that property going to be located in Illinois?
Okay, so Wind Creek won the bid for the suburban Cook County casino license. So technically there will be two casinos in Cook County, the Chicago one and this one. So where Wind Creek has broken ground is approximately 30 miles south of the city, but it's also a very short drive from the Indiana state line. We're talking approximately 10 minutes. It's not in that northwest Indiana corridor where you travel on I-90 and I-94 to get to Indiana and those three casinos just over the state line, but rather it's probably about an hour south in terms of driving to this location.
Now, you mentioned about a temporary site for Bally's. Is Wind Creek going to have a temporary site? From what I'm seeing, what I'm reading from you, it looks like they're just going to plow full steam ahead and work on their permanent site.
No, they opted to go full for the permanent venue off the bat, which
good for them.
Makes sense. Which makes sense in the sense that if they're up and running, you can work quicker towards the maturation of your revenue goals. And also, I think because the city will be deliberate in this process, to be open first can be a little bit of a bonus. I don't know what kind of exit flight from the city to a suburban Cook County casino you can get based on the population numbers, but at the same time, this one has been a specific want by this community. And it was also it fell behind in the process because it took the gaming board an extra amount of time to procure an independent financial analyst, which they were required to do by state law. Mm-hmm. And when they did that, there were also 4 finalists as opposed to maybe 2. So there was an extra round. There was essentially a semifinal round to cut it to 2 before Wind Creek beat out the other finalist, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Once the Wind Creek property is open and running, what can we expect from that casino? I mean, is this going to be just a huge property? There's a hotel attached to it. What can we expect when Wind Creek property opens its doors?
There will be a hotel attached to it. I think this one is going to be in 2 stages. The interesting thing out of all this was that Wind Creek pre-purchased the maximum 2,000 gaming positions allowed, which speaks to their confidence in the project. The opening will have approximately 1,400 of those positions available. An overwhelming majority of them will be slot machines. The hotel would open in June of 2024. So you're talking about a 2-year build. And to me, it's interesting. I mean, one of the things that comes with this casino, and during the Bally's process, the mayor's office repeatedly harped on this point, is that the state loses $330 million in gaming revenue to Indiana annually. Mm-hmm. They think the city, the downtown casino, can repatriate $190 million of that.
Wow.
What Wind Creek can do on top of that may be a little more than flavor, but it's still numbers that stay in the city, that generate local taxes for suburban Cook County, specifically Hazel Crest and Homewood, and also some state taxes. But the bulk of that repatriated money is definitely coming from the downtown casino, because the expectation is the city is going to generate $200 million in city tax. The state will get $200 million in state tax. And for the city, it's something they can put towards the underfunded fire and police pensions that they desperately need.
You know, you can't open a casino nowadays without having a sports book. I mean, have these properties in Illinois already made deals with sports book operators to run a book on the properties, or even online platforms?
So that goes in hand in hand with the casinos. In the case of Bally's, the expectation is they would move both Bally Sportsbooks would have retail licenses. Mm-hmm. The question is, where would Ballybet's online license be? Would it stay in Quad Cities and allow Bally's in Chicago to seek out another potential online skin? Or do you move Ballybet to Chicago and then just reach a deal with someone for Quad Cities if you move it down? We don't know if anyone, Wind Creek has aligned itself with. Mm-hmm. They have had a previous deal with Betfred in Pennsylvania. I don't know if there is multi-state access in that deal. Mm-hmm. Waukegan, which is approximately 40 miles north of the city and close to the Wisconsin border, the Full House Resorts has already reached a deal with Circa, which was kind of surprising because Circa has opted to be both their retail and online sportsbook.
Wow.
We were not expecting Circa to make a jump into another retail market, but after talking to Derek Stevens, he explained what they saw with Full House Resorts, and it made sense as he explained it, because when Full House Resorts made its pitch to the gaming board, they are seeking a high-end clientele. They have various properties across the South. They believe they can migrate that client list to Waukegan based on what they hope to provide in terms of a casino, with tables and presence, and there's going to be a helipad. I mean, that to me,
okay.
When you said when they said helipad during the presentation, I was like, you had to almost like rewind it during the live. Really, a helipad? Okay. kind of thing. The casino in Williamson County, which is also going right to a permanent venue because they felt that construction during the winter just would be pointless for a temporary venue into a permanent one. They have not announced a deal yet, but it is a group that had Elite Casinos in Iowa as their sportsbook provider, so it would not be surprising to see them. One we don't know much about yet is Danville, which is right now the furthest in terms of progress because they had an applicant fall through in terms of approval by the IGB. So Golden Nugget came on board to move with that casino, but we don't know much about that process yet.
You know, speaking of sports betting, it's been a huge couple of months for Illinois sports betting. A lot of the national media focuses on New York, but give us a sense of how big the numbers have been in Illinois, especially in parlay betting, because you did some really excellent reporting on that.
So Illinois is finally finding itself as this top 3 or top 4 market, depending on the month, depending on what's going on in terms of sports. They beat out Nevada for 3rd in April. with almost 840 million. They had 970 million in March, almost a third of which came from the NCAA tournament. And I also want to give the IGB kudos for the fact they actually put the women's tournament breakout in their numbers, which was kind of nice.
Wow, good.
But the parlay betting in this state boggles my mind. There's really no other way to do it. And I get it. I also partake in it.
Sure.
I will do an occasional single game parlay, and to me, the single game parlay is in a way fun. You're essentially making a science experiment out of 10 different things that can happen. At the same time, you're turning that betting ticket often into a lottery ticket, which is why you get these holds that are just beyond. For example, this past month in April, the hold was 19.9%. In March, it was 15.8%. In November, which is when the books crushed the public nationwide, it was 26.6%. So you understand you're not going to stop people from doing it. They're going to do it. And credit to FanDuel. They have marketed a single game parlay better than any operator out there. Yeah. And they get a substantial amount of income from parlays in general. The gaming board does not break it out by single and regular parlays, but it is now at this point where FanDuel generates more than half its income from parlay revenue in Illinois.
I was reading your reporting on that and about the parlay betting in Illinois. I was like, oh, my God, that's amazing. Then you threw that line in, well, New Jersey's not much better. I was like, oh, God, okay, I'm part of the problem. Right. but looking at these national numbers, I mean, they've been amazing for the first quarter of 2022. I mean, now, put this in perspective for us as a person who reports on the sports betting industry. I mean, how great were the numbers for the first quarter of 2022?
It was unprecedented. It really was unprecedented. It was $27 billion in total handle nationwide. Mm-hmm. January you came close to 10 billion. You were at 9.8. February you have the 3 less days, so it backslides, but was still close to 8 billion. And then you had the NCAA tournament in March, and you got back above 9. So if September likely won't provide the first $10 billion handle, only because there's 3 weeks of NFL action. Mm-hmm. But October has 5 weekends, so you're going to get that. So I think October will be the first month you see a $10 billion handle. I mean, I could be wrong, and people could, tune into the NFL in droves like they did last year, because, again, the NFL now has a chance to refine, and its partners have a chance to refine their advertising in year 2 of being official partners. And the NFL drove handle hard last year, which is why you saw this explosive growth in the final 4 months of last year. There was a point before the pandemic where we all talk starry-eyed about a $5 billion monthly handle. Yeah. And then you look at the last 4 months of 2021. September, $5.5 billion. Mm-hmm. October, $7.5 billion. November, $7.4 billion. December, $7.3 billion. Then New York comes online, and New York skews the number, rightfully so, because of its now mobile presence. And now you're talking $9 billion, $8 billion, $9 billion. And even in April, with Arizona still out there, but you can assume a minimum of 400 million handle, even with the backslide of April, and you're still going to be near $7.5 billion for April. So by that point, now you're almost at $35 billion for the first 4 months of the year.
Well, you just mentioned 2 states I want to ask you about. First, you talked about driving handle. Are these national numbers reflecting how big of an impact New York had on sports betting industry when they launched in January? Is what we're seeing is New York's fingerprints all over these numbers?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We're at the point now, even as a live number right now, New York's overall handle accounts for 21% of the national handle, as in live, as in right this second. Well, you look at January, January's handle was 17%, February's handle 19%, March's handle 17%, April's handle 20%. Again, that's without Arizona, but you're seeing them contribute consistently 1/6 of the national handle. So yes, their fingerprints are all over it.
You mentioned Arizona, too. The one surprising thing when I looked at Arizona's numbers, I saw in March that Arizona broke a state record, but the one thing that shocked me was 99% of those bets were made online. It was an amazing stat. I always thought New York and New Jersey had high levels of online betting because, you know what, we're cold weather states. You know, we don't want to leave the house in January or February. But I'm surprised that Arizona had this high of an online betting market. Yeah, is online betting really driving these numbers as well?
In the case of Arizona, it's more of a numbers game because there's only 2 retail sports books available. So, but you have remote registration, which is why you get the 99% handle. Mm-hmm. New York, you have the 4 commercial casinos. So, but even so, there you get the same lopsided percentage. You're at the point where it's. Let me do May as a quick example. It's 99.5% for May.
Yeah.
So if you have a large number of operators and a small amount of retail books, you will get that online percentage inching above 95 to 96 to 97 to 98 to 99. It's not surprising, especially in the case of Arizona with only 2 retail locations at this point.
In terms of handle, what are the top states right now?
Top states, it goes New York and New Jersey 1 and 2.
Okay.
Illinois and Nevada are now a little closer in terms of fighting for third, which is interesting because I'm somewhat convinced that Illinois will be the 4th state to crack $1 billion come October with that 5 weekends. So you have that. Colorado and Arizona are also markets that are in the top 10. Indiana stubbornly refuses to leave the top 10, which is
very interesting.
The Gonzaga of sports betting is Indiana at this point. Obviously you get the spring and summer swoon with baseball and not much going on there, but this is still a state that topped $500 million in January. You get Tennessee a little bit. They hover just outside the top 10. Michigan is in the top 10. Iowa kind of hovers around 11 and 12. Louisiana is the one that I'm curious to see come a full football season. They're another one hanging just outside the top 10. They're cracking 200 million consistently now that they have mobile. You're getting 230, 210. So whether or not a full college football season with LSU, a full pro season with New Orleans, what kind of impact that has and whether or not it drives it higher to maybe 250 or 260. Virginia is another market that does well. It constantly hovers around 400 million per month. So there's no lack of numbers, pretty much. And one last wild card for this year will be if Maryland ever launches mobile, which, as someone on Twitter pointed out, they have essentially over-legislated themselves in a corner because they're being too deliberate. And apparently the governor sent a letter to the gaming commission there asking to speed up the process. Next year you get Ohio, which rounds out the Rust Belt and will have this super launch on January 1st if things continue to go according to plan. And it'll be similar to Michigan, but it will also be on a much grander scale based on the amount of licenses they project to offer. So they could be an instant top 10 entry.
Well, speaking of sports betting operators, one of the more well-known people in the sports betting industry said some interesting things recently. Jason Robbins from DraftKings had some interesting things to say about sharps, parlays, and holds that has the sports industry buzzing, to make saying it nicely. First off, what were his comments regarding sharps and the sports betting industry in general?
I think most of what Jason, I think, was trying to point out is that it appears he wants DraftKings to run as a well-oiled sports betting business more than a sports book, which means you're a private company. You have, except in like Oregon and New Hampshire, where they're run by the state lottery, so you can't turn away anyone. But he wants he wants it to be a business that maximizes profits, and it's understandable. That's part
absolutely.
of what business is all about. So you limit the sharps, which kind of is a disservice in some respects because there are casual bettors who follow them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now maybe you're potentially limiting your market there. The issue I had was publicly coming out and saying you're going to target the single game parlay as part of your revenue generating business model. And I know part of that, it's the ugly truth being said because the parlay margins are substantially higher than the overall win margins. Mm-hmm. I just found it to be poor form to publicly promote an adversarial position against the betting public. I just didn't like it. And again, I get it. You're in this business to make money. You're not sitting here hoping that you're going to have a 5% hold when you have an opportunity to go above the industry standard of 7%. In fact, the only sportsbook I know that publicly says they are a low hold, high handle model is Circa, and they don't turn away high limit handle. They don't turn away high bet customers. But I just didn't like that he came right out and turned it against he just came out and said it in a way that just didn't sit well with me in terms of making the public, most of whom do this for fun.
Sure.
Now granted, people like us take it a little more seriously, but by and large, you have a large market segment who are doing these things for fun, and now you're taking that fun away from them, and whether or not you're driving them off remains to be seen. But it's just something that it doesn't look good from an optics standpoint.
Yeah.
I think is what I'm trying to say. I just was not a fan of the way he presented it.
I was asked that last week, and I said I think he said the quiet part out loud. So
right, that's actually a better way of describing it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you put any executive of a sportsbook or a sportsbook operator in a room and say, you're off the record, and I promise not to reveal your name, they're probably going to agree with everything Robin said.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah. The one thing I guess concerned a lot of people, especially I'm sure you talk to a lot of sharp bettors as well. I mean, I've gotten a lot of horror stories from pro bettors saying they, sportsbook put limits on them, or if they wanted to bet a certain game for a certain amount of money, they were told to bet at a different odds that were posted. I mean, right. If you're a sharp bettor, do you have concern what was said? Or are they realizing, what, it happens, it's part of the business, I just have to roll with it?
Well, then it becomes an issue of access of who you want to bet with.
Yeah.
If you're a sharp and you're in a state that, I mean, granted, there are very few states now that have less than a substantial amount of options, but again, for argument's sake, if you're in New Hampshire and you're doing well, you only have DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to Massachusetts. You can go to Connecticut where you have DraftKings, FanDuel, or BetRivers.
Yeah.
You only have 3 options. So, I just don't like publicly driving off bettors, whether they're recreational, whether they're sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing was and this came to light in Colorado with the Barstool incident, and I forget the person who did it, but he's part of VSIN, and that back and forth was troubling.
Yeah.
In some respects, in terms of what he alleges the sportsbook did,
mm-hmm.
and there's no reason to doubt him. At the same time, the Colorado Gaming Commission came back on the side of Barstool, which does raise the question of, is it impartial, or you industry? There's a difference between industry friendly and impartiality, and whether or not that crossed the line. So it's something, again, that sharp bettors are going to look at, and they have every right to wonder whether or not they're valued customers, because at the end of the day, they're as much a customer as you are, as I am, and as the person placing their first bet.
Mm-hmm. Chris, we're a little short on time, but I certainly want to get your opinion on a pretty important golf tournament that happened recently, and that is the first Saudi-backed tournament that Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson, formerly of the PGA Tour, took part in. From your conversations with people, was this a big success? Did people watch it, considering the bad press it's been receiving over the last couple of weeks?
I don't think a lot of people watched it, only because
I didn't know where it was.
It was, I believe it was on YouTube. I believe it was on Facebook. Yeah. But again, if you're introducing your product by only streaming, it's a lot harder to move the needle with the general sports public. In terms of wagering, I'm not exactly sure how it'll play out. We'll have to look at that when June numbers are released. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to determine. I mean, it's a very polarizing tournament, obviously, because
sure,
one of the backers of the tournament, whether or not it's a continuation of sports washing that is prevalent in that part of the country. I mean, it's not exclusive to the Saudi to live when you look at the fact that the World Cup is being held in Qatar in 6 months. Mm-hmm. So they're not on an island by themselves. And you have a polarized public in general, and this is just another small factor in it. I don't know how much the money will weigh on luring people over. I think if there's one market that they can exploit, it's the group of golfers who will be over the age of 40 before entering the Champions Tour. Yeah. Although no one knows if the Champions Tour will relent and let them back in, because that's also run by the PGA. That you have this, you all of a sudden now have this window where it's far more lucrative than you would, say, grinding it out on the PGA Tour, where maybe you're finishing in the top 30 and top 35 every week, where now you can go to this tournament, even finish last, play one less round, and still come home with $125,000 a tournament. Even if there are only 8 to 10 tournaments a year, you've cleared $1 million. You've cleared $1 million in gross, minus whatever your expenses are as an independent contractor, because that's what the golfers are. So it creates a lot of decision making. I thought Jon Rahm was very eloquent yesterday in explaining why he's going to stay on the PGA Tour, but while also recognizing the financial realities of it. But he also brought up a very good point specific to him. He said, yes, it's a lot of money, but it's also not money that's going to change his current lifestyle, mm-hmm. which made it a non-starter for him, plus his love of history of the PGA Tour. And I think each golfer has to weigh that on their own. And if you get more bigger names closer to the prime, I mean, the interesting parallel to this, if anything, is Major League Soccer in its early days.
Yep.
When they had to find talent that people could recognize right away. So you found these aging European superstars who would come over for this one paycheck. They loved the money. They also loved playing in relative anonymity and walking around cities outside of game days without being mobbed. So I think that's some of it as well. But I don't know how much traction this is going to get until you see an event on television, mm-hmm. or whether Dustin Johnson Carl Schwartzel, not an unknown name, but you need Dustin Johnson to win one of these events. Mm-hmm. You need Lee Westwood to win one of these events. And then you build the rivalry, you get eyeballs, you get attention, you get wagering. So
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Alan Shipnuck on his new book about Phil Mickelson, and Alan was in the news last weekend. He got thrown out of the press conference, so I think we might have
the Greg Norman meme that launched the thousand.
Yeah, oh God, we may have to have Alan back on this week. And one of the things Mickelson told Shipnuck was he joined the Saudi Golf League because he wants to force the PGA Tour to make some changes. Do you think the PGA Tour will change because of this new league?
I think the changes that Phil purports to want, I think, are things that don't affect the public on an everyday basis. Now, they may be important to the PGA Tour golfers themselves, and Phil has been around long enough that he knows these issues probably backwards and forwards. So I think there is a stamp of legitimacy to it. But I also don't think it's something where the PGA Tour has ruled it with such an ironclad with such an iron fist that it's not approachable by the players. Mm-hmm. Now that may, and it may come to the newer technologies such as the NFTs, and whether or not that actually survives should there be an economic recession is an argument for another day. But I don't ever recall the PGA being so ham-fisted and so authoritarian on the tour where players would need to have an open revolt to get the changes they want. Now, maybe Phil is different because Phil has made more money than God while on the PGA Tour. But I don't see the imperative of it when it can be done behind the scenes and everyone remains by and large happy.
I want to ask you, in terms of betting, were people in the U.S. able to bet on this tournament? I can tell you in New Jersey, I couldn't find one book that listed or put numbers up on it.
In some states, in Illinois, it was.
Okay.
It depended on some of the state regulations. I asked the Illinois Gaming Board about this, and they said that because it was a professional golf tour, it was for the books to decide if they wanted to offer markets on it. And in Illinois, pretty much everyone did.
Oh, okay.
I only looked at it earlier in the week, and Points Bet was one of the first I saw to have markets, and then more books came on, leading closer to the first round tee time. So a lot of it depends on the state regulations and whether or not they have to approach the regulatory agency and say, hey, can we do this? Or you can do this as if you want. So whether or not that extra layer could have mattered on a state-by-state basis.
Chris, we're running out of time, but can you give out a website where people can read your articles and give out your social media address so people can follow what you're up to?
Sure. The two big websites that Better Collective runs that I write for are sportshandle.com and usbets.com. Sportshandle is more for sports betting news, and usbets is more for casino news. My Twitter handle is Altruda73, ALTRUDA, the number 73. It is an absolute mess of state-by-state revenue numbers, so if you see about 40 straight tweets of different states and figures as opposed to actual words, don't be alarmed. It's just what I do.
Chris Atlruda from usbets.com, Sports Handle, and Better Collective, thanks so much for coming on. As always, you have the latest in what's going on in the gambling world around the country. Come back soon. I know Illinois is certainly going to have some interesting gambling stories coming out because they always do. So thanks for your time.
Yes. Dave, always a pleasure, and thanks for having me on again.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
With Drizzly, I can shop a huge selection of beer, wine, and liquor. I just open the app, find what I want, and it's at my door in under 60 minutes.
Drizzly also lets me shop from multiple stores in my area and compare prices on thousands of products.
Ding dong, Drizzly.
We'll get back to the show in a few moments, but I just wanted to take some time and tell everyone about Bean Genius, the smart specialty coffee subscription service. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country. They feature over 2,000 specialty coffee blends, all at your fingertips at beangenius.com. Here's how it works. Head on over to beangenius.com and take their palate profiler test to find out what coffee best fits your taste. Then select from a variety of subscription plans. Every subscription comes with free shipping, and delivery can even be scheduled for once or twice each month. And based upon your review of each coffee blend you try, Bean Genius actually learns your individual taste preferences and then suggests future coffee blends for you. And now you can get 10% off your Bean Genius subscription when you use our promo code PIKE at checkout. Bean Genius offers a variety of subscription plans to suit any coffee lover's needs. Subscribe with Bean Genius today and start enjoying some of the best tasting coffee around. And save 10% off your coffee plan with promo code PIKE.
casino. People got to win sometime.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a giant, colorful check to deposit.
Beatin The House is brought to you by BetMGM Casino. Play your favorite casino games at BetMGM Online Casino. Slots, table games, live dealer games, everything you love about Atlantic City and Vegas, all online at BetMGM. Don't wait. Join in the fun now. Go to BetMGM Casino, create an account using our promo code Turnpike, and become a verified player. New players get $25 free when signing up, plus a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Turnpike at BetMGM.com for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 free. Grab a lion's share of the fun at BetMGM.com. Must be 21 years or older to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to another edition of Beatin The House, where we're going to crisscross the country going through the casino jackpots, the Pai Gow poker, which seems to be a recurring theme. Really? We have one today, as a matter of fact. We've actually got a whole bunch of different jackpots to go through, and keep those press releases coming in from the casinos and the lotteries. Info at turnpikesportsradio.com. Always fun to learn that there are games still out there that we do not know about. And start learning about all these different things.
You mentioned Pai Gow. Boy, that I don't know if that just gets good press around the country, or there seems like every week there's a Pai Gow jackpot. I mean, if you go to a casino on a regular basis, I think you need to know how to play Pai Gow, because apparently you can win some big cash on that.
Well, before we even get into a lot of the jackpots this week, got one little bit of piece of news to really talk about. Every week we always see one of the slot machines that pays out as a Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune really plays out.
Well,
that's a money machine, man.
We just got a press release as we're taping this that BetMGM has done a deal with Sony Pictures Television and IGT to launch the very first online Wheel of Fortune branded casino.
Wow.
Not just a game, but a casino.
Now, certainly it'll have the Wheel of Fortune slot machine. Will it have a ton of versions of the Wheel of Fortune slot machine?
Well, according to the release, there are over 250 versions of Wheel of Fortune slots.
Online or
no, in general. In general. Brick and mortar and online.
Okay.
So I don't know how many of those they're going to have in this casino, but it's a Wheel of Fortune branded online casino.
How many variations are there?
Over 250.
Wow. Okay.
But it's,
so this is going to be a casino. This is going to be an online casino in
with
New Jersey.
all other games besides Wheel of Fortune slots.
Okay. All right.
So, but it's going to be a Wheel of Fortune branded online casino. The first state it's going to launch in, planned for, is New Jersey.
So I have an account with BetMGM.
You will have to register for a Wheel of Fortune casino.
Oh, okay. So they're not going to have a link. They're not going to have a shared wallet kind of thing. So,
nope. No. This is a brand new online casino brand out there. It has nothing to do with BetMGM or Borgata or anything else. This is just a whole new line of online casino coming out.
Great.
It's the first ever game show branded online casino product out there. So, again, first state's going to be New Jersey. They're going to move it to other states as well. So, we may see a national Wheel of Fortune online casino network.
Great. Hey.
It'll be kind of fun to see if that actually happens.
Yeah.
We're going to start off this week with some jackpots. As a matter of fact, I said Pai Gow at the top of the show, or the segment here, and we're going to be talking face-up Pai Gow poker. We have a winner at the California Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas.
Wow. Okay.
It's also a Las Vegas local. Had a visit to the Boyd Gaming property, California Hotel and Casino. They hit the face-up Pai Gow poker progressive jackpot worth $543,619.
See, like I said, I mean, learn to play Pai Gow poker, because, man, is that paying off.
According to the press release from Boyd Gaming, the player who chose to remain anonymous was playing face-up Pai Gow poker at approximately 7:57 a.m. when they hit a 7-card straight flush in hearts.
I wonder if that was the start of the gambling day or the end of the gambling day, or just the middle. Hey, it's 7:57 a.m.
7:57. Okay. According to the release, again,
pretty specific.
They placed this anonymous winner placed a $25 bet with an additional $1 bet for the chance to win the progressive jackpot, which it hit, like I said, for $543,619. And Given this is Pai Gow, they also placed a fortune bonus side bet of $5 that won them an additional $25,000.
See, that's the thing about Pai Gow poker.
It's the game that keeps on giving.
You got to figure out the side bet stuff.
It's all side bets.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's all side bets.
I mean, I don't know how much how much fun the game would be if there weren't the side bets.
You got to figure out the progressive stuff, and then what's the bonus stuff, and Well, but hey, get to know it.
Exactly.
So hey, it pays off.
Well, that's why some of the casinos put the rules up.
Yeah.
Read the rules. I mean, that's the simplest thing to do.
I've never read the rules in a casino.
Well, games like this, I have to, especially when you're looking, especially when you don't know what the bonuses are.
Well, that's the great thing about online casinos. You get to learn the game.
Yes.
So, but I have never sat and read the rules, which is a bad thing. Don't listen to what I do, but read the rules.
They put them up there for a reason.
Yeah.
We're going to stay in Nevada. We're going east of the Vegas Strip for the Tuscany Suites and Casino.
I've never been there, never heard of it, by the way.
Well, now you have.
Okay.
A big win happened at Tuscany. Dawn, who is a frequent customer, and I'm just reading this off the press releases, was playing Buffalo Legends at Tuscany.
That's
and ended up
big Buffalo slot machine game.
Yes.
Okay.
Ended up winning $500,570.94.
Wow. Okay.
And the 94 cents makes all the difference.
Yeah. 94 cents.
It wouldn't just be a jackpot without that 94 cents. But now she's a regular at the Tuscany Suites and Casino east of the Vegas Strip.
Yeah. It's always good to see regulars win.
Yes.
They keep the business afloat, and they're paid off for it. Good for them.
We are leaving Nevada.
All right.
And we are going to Hollywood, Florida, the Seminole Classic Casino.
Okay.
Lucky Guest was playing on Wednesday, June 15th, on a slot machine at the Seminole Classic Casino, playing the Scientific Games Dancing Drums slot machine.
I played that.
Not the Dancing Drums Explosion.
Well,
this is the original. This is the original.
Oh, I played Dancing Drums Explosion?
Yes.
Okay. I wonder how many dancing drum versions there are.
I think there are at least 30 out there.
Yeah, we talked about Wheel of Fortune. How many dancing drum?
Nothing can beat Wheel of Fortune.
No.
That's been around.
Well, dancing
so long.
drums is a new kind of a game.
Well, Wheel of Fortune's been around 25 years, something like that. So 210 times many versions. But again, she won $357,837.15, and they were using their Seminole Wild Card during play. Their loyalty card.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Earning them additional perks at the casino.
I know everyone's out there saying, I don't know why they do this, but I guess it's an interesting question. How much did they bet? I mean,
they didn't say how much she bet.
But the thing, she didn't bet $350,000 on a spin, so,
no. But it was a progressive.
It paid off.
Yeah.
So.
Progressive was reset back to $250,000. So it had been growing for a while.
That's like those people out there. I don't want to win the lottery because I have to pay the taxes. What? What are you talking about? It's crazy,
Or they don't want to play the lottery because the jackpot's not big enough.
Yeah. Oh, it's only 12 million.
Yes.
Why waste my time?
I'll wait until about 50 million to play. Yeah. But again, $357,837.15. Won by Dawn playing the Dancing Drums slot machine at Seminole Classic.
All right.
By the way, just as a side note, at the Seminole Gaming, Aristocrat, we're going off topic here a little bit. Aristocrat just introduced a brand new progressive jackpot machine.
Okay.
At all of these Seminole properties in Florida.
Just the Seminole properties?
Just the Seminole properties.
All
it's
right.
an all-new Dollar Storm slot machine progressive jackpot starting at $1 million.
Okay.
Most of them don't start that high. That's
right.
the highest starting progressive slot machine out there right now.
Okay.
So that's the Seminole Casinos.
That's a good tip.
Just a little news and note right there. We're going back out to Vegas. Harrah's Las Vegas, to be exact.
Oh, I read this story. Yeah.
Charles Liu
Yeah.
was in Vegas on vacation from Baldwin Park, California. He was playing at the 3-card poker table at the Harrah's Las Vegas, and he sat there for about a minute.
Well, that's the big part of the story, is how long it took him to win a fortune.
I wonder how quickly he put the bet down and got it going. But
it's a
he
minute.
was sitting there for a minute. hit a 5-card royal flush, good for $258,517.
And by the way, when we say a minute, we're not being, just
we're not
hey,
exaggerating.
he just sat there. Yeah, he just sat there for a minute. It was actually a minute. He just sat down, and within 60 seconds, he won over $250,000.
That's another benefit for the casinos for someone to have a loyalty card.
Yeah.
The loyalty card logged them in.
Yeah.
So they knew how long he'd been playing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting that you can keep track of somebody's playing just by using the loyalty card.
Well, we had another story early on when someone won at 7:57 in the morning.
Oh, yeah,
So
they knew the exact time, yeah.
They know exactly who's playing, where they're playing, when they're playing, how long they're playing. So,
well, I will say
everything.
this. The 7:57 was, what was it, the Pai Gow? That was another table game. And he was another season.
No, wait, what was the one he was?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it was a Pai Gow poker. Yeah.
And it was a loyalty card member, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do track you pretty closely.
Yeah, no,
which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going now back to the East Coast. Live Casino Philly. And we've had a couple of these stories throughout the last couple of weeks. Live casinos, they were running their mega jackpot madness. And it was like a mystery jackpot between 10 and 50,000 every week. Somebody had to win them. They were going to do like 5 winners in each property, Philly and Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They just had their final winner at Philly.
Okay.
Joseph R. won $29,642 for the final mega jackpot madness jackpot. 60 minutes of free play jackpots were then awarded to 10 winners in the casino, between $5,000 and $1,000 in free slot play.
So they were just sitting there.
They were just sitting there.
Okay, they were just sitting there in the casino, and they won that.
Yep.
Okay. And
the total of the total amount by all 5 jackpots given out through this promotion at Philly, $173,206 given out to players.
Wow, good.
No word on how much the free slot play they gave out. I'd be curious to see how much they gave out in that area, too. IGT, every so often these companies do press releases of like a recap of their previous month.
Yeah.
IGT released their May 2022 jackpot winner list. According to IGT, its Wheel of Fortune and Power Buck slots awarded 3 huge jackpots in May. On May 2nd, an online Power Bucks jackpot of $1.219 million.
Wow.
Playing the Wheel of Fortune Shimmering Sapphires.
Shimmering Sapphires. Wow.
There's alliteration for you.
What a version of that.
In the Ontario casino.
All right.
In Ontario, Canada. On May 4th, another Wheel of Fortune slots player won $1.437 million.
Man.
Playing Wheel of Fortune Triple Double Diamond at the D Las Vegas.
Okay.
So we have an online Wheel of Fortune jackpot, a brick and mortar Wheel of Fortune jackpot. And on May 8th, a Wheel of Fortune slots player won $1.66 million playing Wheel of Fortune Gold Spin Triple Red Hot Sevens at Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut.
What was the name of that? What?
You're going to have me read that all
Wheel
over
of
again.
Fortune what?
Wheel of Fortune Gold Spin Triple Red Hot Sevens.
Jeez, okay.
So we just talked to, there are over 250 versions of it. There's 3 right there for you. So they gave out 3 huge jackpots in May. Let's see. IGT Powerbuck slots, which are only in Canada, paid 36 jackpots of $1 million or more since their Canadian debut in 2016. Wheel of Fortune slots have created over 1,100 millionaires and awarded $3.4 billion in jackpots since their launch in 1996.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of shows you the allure of the Wheel of Fortune brand, why BetMGM is now launching an online casino for Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, I would guess so.
So kind of interesting stat there, that amount of money given out by Wheel of Fortune slots.
Wow.
We got a news release from Jackpocket. Jackpocket has announced that a woman in Cleveland won a record $1 million after ordering $6 in Powerball tickets on the Jackpocket lottery app. She is the largest jackpot winner in Ohio through Jackpocket.
I got to try Jackpocket. I mean, I'm
It looks
hearing
like
all,
fun.
yeah. Well, it's so convenient. I mean, we have a store pretty close to where we're recording here, and you can walk up, but I never do.
No, it's
I
easier
never
just
do.
to go online.
That would take some effort on my part, and I just don't have it. So, but no, what a great idea! Get your lottery online.
But she is the largest Powerball through Jackpocket lottery winner in Ohio. And we're going to end today talking about the South Carolina lottery.
Yeah.
A South Carolina man was relaxing at home when he scratched off a $5 lottery ticket that he'd picked up at a spur of the moment. According to what he told lottery officials in South Carolina, he was leaving a convenience store, was in his car, ready to drive away, and he decided to go back in and just get a lottery ticket for the hell of it.
See, I never have those urges. I mean,
He had the urge.
You know, at the supermarket, you just walk by the lottery. I think, man, I'll pick one up. No, there's someone in line.
Nope.
I'm just going to walk by.
He had the urge.
I never have those urges. I never have that instinct to go up and get a lottery ticket.
bought
That's why I'm not winning.
He bought a $5 lottery ticket, was scratching it off at home, and he won $200,000.
See, the only times I buy scratch tickets, it's very rare, but I always scratch them off in the store.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, just in case you win.
just know,
Yeah.
just
I
in case
guess
I
that's how
never
you
do.
look at
I
it,
never
doesn't it?
do. Maybe I should take them home.
So he bought a Carolina Gold 50 times ticket.
Okay.
At store 105 on Harper Street in Lorenz, South Carolina. And he is an upstate South Carolina person.
I don't even know what that means.
According to,
I didn't know there was
had
an
to look this
upstate.
up.
I didn't know there was an
this up.
upstate. There's an upstate New York,
Well,
but
no,
not
I had to look
upstate
this
South
up.
Carolina.
According to what I read about this, upstate South Carolina is comprised, it's called Upstate Carolina, comprised of 10 counties in the northwest corner of South Carolina. It's also referred to as 10 at the top.
Okay.
Yeah, believe me, I
right.
don't even know.
I've never heard that.
And it's also part of what's called the Appalachian Council of Governments.
Okay.
That sounds very ominous.
See, look at that. You learned something new about your your country.
But he went back into the store, got his Carolina Gold ticket, $5 got him $200,000 on a spur of the moment decision to go back in and get that ticket.
Ah, good for him.
So that's it for this week's Beatin the House. Keep the press releases coming in. info@turnpikesportsradio.com. We'll continue doing the segment because, quite honestly, I'm astounded at some of the stories we're getting lately.
Yep.
They're really interesting, whether it's sitting at the table 1 minute to win a jackpot or walking back into a lottery, get a lottery ticket. That's just amazing. So appreciate all the press releases from everybody sending them in. Keep on doing that.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.